Hello and welcome to Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street, the podcast that goes the distance to celebrate independent retailers as the heartbeat of their communities. I'm your host, Patrick Keiser, and today we're going to be diving into something that has truly become the soul of this podcast, Main Street Mondays. Over the last 2 years, I have traveled to 50 different towns across the country, walking their historic streets, meeting their local business owners, and sharing their incredible stories with you all. What all started as a simple idea of visiting communities to showcase the independent retailers there has turned into an eye-opening journey of resilience, creativity, and community spirit. So today I want to take you behind the scenes of Main Street Mondays, what I've learned, what makes these communities special, and why this project has become so close to my heart. So first, let's rewind things. I first had the idea for Main Street Mondays at Crystal Vilkaitis' Evolve conference in 2023. By the way, tickets for this year's conference are still on sale. It's taking place April 4th and 5th in Denver, Colorado. You can use the link in this episode's description to purchase tickets today. Anyway, one of the big takeaways from that event in 2023 was the importance of putting yourself out there, showing up in your community, and telling real stories. Prior to this, I did not do that with Heart on Main Street. I did not desire to do that with the organization. I wanted to remain in the shadows, raise and disperse money to retailers in need without having to ever really be public facing. But we were 4 months into launching the organization, and at the time that seemed like an incredibly lengthy runway to give myself, and things were not taking off the way that I believed that they would. I expected immediate recognition of our purpose, which wasn't really even established yet, and immediate support from the wholesale industry and independent retailers alike. So in my mind, something had to change, and this conference gave me the inspiration for it. What a better way to do this than by hitting the road and meeting with independent retailers face to face. At first, I wasn't really sure if this would resonate. I wanted to do lives on Instagram from each town, walk the main street, show off cute stores, take pictures, tag the stores in our stories. I was optimistic about the concept, but held my fair share of skepticism as well. Would people even care about these small towns? This was essentially the first feedback that I ever received about the organization before it formed, and it's always lived in my head like a worm and feeding my self-doubt. Would they tune in to care and hear about these places or follow along in the stories? What if I did lives and no one showed up to watch? What if the store owners didn't let me take pictures or videos within their store? What if they didn't care about my organization or see its need? There were a lot of doubts and fears surrounding my first few trips. Thankfully for me, my wife was on maternity leave at this time, and she and Little Miss Main Street could come along and see a couple towns. I honestly think this made the introduction of the organization and my ask to these stores much easier, especially as I was perfecting my pitch to the retailers. Everyone loves a little baby, right? It only took a few towns to know that we were really onto something special. The passion of these business owners, the dedication that they have to their communities, and the unique challenges that they face all deserve to be highlighted. They were open to talking to me about their business as long as they weren't too busy with customers. They were open to learning about Heart on Main Street and what we were trying to accomplish as an organization. Sometimes I had a lot of people on my lives, and other times I had no one, and I learned that was okay. I either got to speak directly to people, some I knew and others I didn't, or I just pretended to do so. I found out that people were interested in the independent retailers of small towns that weren't even their own town. That first comment that someone made to me was not true. People tuned in to watch me explore a main street, to show off the town architecture, the historic buildings, the signage from a bygone era. Maybe others tuned in to see if I was going to finally get hit by a car while jaywalking, but hey, views are views. It wasn't long before something remarkable happened. I began to get invited places. Members of a town's business community said that we loved what you're doing. Come feature our town. We're really special too. And I've tried to visit as many of those as possible that I've been invited to. I am restricted by some travel, so I've not been able to get to every place that has invited me, but I have it as my plan still because I found that every town is special. Every city has a unique element that makes it worth exploring, and the store owners all have their stories to tell. Every town has a story. Some are thriving, some are rebuilding, some are fighting to keep their main streets alive. But what I've learned is that the strength of independent retailers doesn't come from foot traffic alone. It comes from the people behind the counters, the ones that are pouring their heart and soul into the businesses every single day. When I started my Main Street Matters journey, it was designed to be more promotional and garner awareness of Heart on Main Street. However, much more was given to me throughout this process than I ever handed out. Each conversation with an independent retailer provided new insights for me and allowed me to take a look at the community and Main Street infrastructure differently. Like, one major assumption that I had made was that the communities that are part of the Main Street America network were somehow more connected, more planned or developed, and more cohesive than what they actually are. I assumed that under the umbrella of Main Street America and the corresponding state Main Street organizations, these communities communicated with each other and shared information with each other, best practices, that they were fed guidelines for success and were therefore more successful than communities that were not part of this large national network. However, I quickly found out that they were just as fragmented and separate as any other town organization, and that their success did not necessarily come from the ability of a centrally planned organization to provide them with a blueprint, but from the individuals and the business owners within that community that create their own success. Throughout Main Street Monday, my side project became to learn what makes a prosperous Main Street area. Why do some thrive and others do not? This is not an easy task. There's not a set standard of success, especially when you take into consideration the size of towns and proximity to other cities. Like, it would be logical to say that the downtown area of a community with 75,000 residents near a major city is going to be more successful than a community with 750 residents where the nearest stoplight is over an hour away. But this is not necessarily the case. Along the way, as I started visiting these communities, I recognized commonalities, and not just among the retailers, but also among towns. These shared experiences and commonalities create a profound sense of community and belonging, strengthening and encouraging locally owned businesses. I realized that there were some common components these businesses and communities are doing or are not doing that strengthen or weaken and encourage locally owned businesses. So today, I wanted to take a deep dive on these ideas and tell you what I've seen and challenge you to bring some of them into your community as well. The first element is probably the biggest and most overarching, something that everything really comes from. Community support is everything. Towns where local governments, business associations, and residents actively support small businesses are the ones that see the most success. It's not just about shop local campaigns, but it's about real investment into the Main Street. This is a mindset in a community culture that has to be grown and fostered. You cannot just slap shop local stickers around and expect a community to follow suit. You have to actively work and grow that community so that it wants to support local businesses. Towns that flourish have this, and towns that do not have this rot. Everything stems from this idea, and every other point that I'm going to talk about goes into developing this culture and fostering its growth. My second point is about business development organization. Your participation in these as a retailer matters. Several types of organizations can be involved in making decisions for a business community. This might be a business development association, a downtown business association, downtown development associations, Main Street organizations, chamber of commerce, merchant groups. There's a wide variety of them, and they might go by different names, but all try to kind of solve a similar issue. There are differences between those groups and the purpose that they fulfill within each town. However, I've noticed that broadly, towns with an association or an organization like these set themselves up to be more successful. These organizations allow stakeholders to unite to plan for the business community. Here, events and festivities can be planned. During these meetings, they can decide what the area or the town needs and what aid can be provided, what grants they're going to go after. They can help market for businesses and act as one voice speaking up for the commercial businesses of the town. I believe it is crucial for retailers to participate in these organizations. Someone is going to be deciding how business will operate in your area. It might as well be you. If your community does not have an organization like this to support the going on of the downtown, start one. It does not have to be an official organization. I've been to towns where the merchants took matters into their own hands and formed a group by meeting at the coffee shop to talk. If you start getting together with your other local business owners, you'll be surprised at what you can develop and how you can support each other. Which then goes into my next point. Try to foster collaboration amongst businesses. It pains me when I encounter communities where the retailers do not have good relationships with each other and view their neighboring businesses as their competitors, not their collaborators. I understand this from a certain perspective. If a shopper has a limited budget, you'd prefer them to spend it in your store rather than someone else's in the area. However, if there are more successful businesses in an area, more people will come to that area to shop. A successful neighbor can help your store too, and the ability to collaborate with businesses help the entire area. If you collaborate, you can cross-promote businesses, you can plan events together, you can recommend other businesses for things that you don't have. All of these things are great ways to grow the business within your community. And if you work together, you allow yourself to help each other grow. In one town I visited, retailers went so far as to wholesale from one of their other product-based business retailers. While visiting, I noticed that almost every store had its own signature fragrance. I've talked about this before, but it's such a great example. The signature fragrance, when you smelled it when you walked into the stores, and it was sold at the cash register. After several instances of this, seeing this and going as every store that I go into, I asked where everyone was sourcing their own signature scents from. And it turns out they worked with the candle making store down the street. The candle maker had the formula for their scent and would make their candles to order whenever the retailer requested. From the retailer's perspective, they received a unique and customized product and know that they have it exclusively in their store. The candle maker receives consistent customer base for their store and allows them to focus on in-store events, classes, parties, and other things for the community. So I challenge you to think about different ways that you can collaborate with other stores in your retail community. If you're holding an in-store event, is it possible to involve another store so you can cross-promote and reach more customers? Is there a product-based business within your community that you can partner with in a unique way? The more you collaborate with your neighbors, the more successful businesses that are in the area, the more success you all are going to see. My third point is about events and festivals. Events and festivals are the biggest thing that help drive people to a downtown community and shoppers into stores. Well-done events can bring tens of thousands, 100,000 people to an area. Events can come in all shapes and themes, from whole town festivals that shut down the streets and bring in bands and food vendors to events that bring people directly into the stores. Whole town festivals usually center around holiday seasons, but they can also be unique ones that are themed around something special for that town and what it's known for. These can become traditions within the area and grow over time. An event that can draw thousands of people to an area helps bring more interaction to the retail community. People who may have never interacted with the store or the community otherwise are now there. Towns can also hold events and ask people to interact with the retailers. These events might include doing something in the window displays, such as a live mannequin event or scavenger hunt, display contests, or having local artists decorate the windows. You can have community members vote on which ones they like best or which ones are most creatively done, and if they vote by store name, they're more likely to remember that store. Events don't have to have an appeal outside of the community. If they are held consistently, they become something that the residents look forward to. Many communities host a First Friday event on the first Friday of every month to bring people into the downtown district. These can be themed differently every month based on what's going on that time of year, and can even be specialized to appeal to niches within the community. I have seen some towns do weekly events on a Thursday night during the summer to encourage the community to gather downtown to eat, drink, and if the stores stay open late, to shop there too. The key is consistency in these events. They quickly become the thing to do within the town, and people look forward to participating in them with their friends and families. Events can be a great opportunity to utilize green spaces within an area and gathering spots. With a little work, a park can become a small outdoor concert venue. Add in some outdoor games and you have a family-friendly outing that brings the community together, spotlights a local musician, and allows the community to make fond memories in this space. Other event ideas bring shoppers directly into the store. This might be an event where each participating retailer has a different variety of the same thing. Think different flavors of hot chocolate or mac and cheese at each store. And people go from shop to try the different varieties. They might get a punch card, and if they visit each store, they're entered to win a prize. You can also have a voting component here that allows the retailer to brag about their win throughout the following year. A similar event concept I've seen many towns participate in is a wine walk. This encourages people to get together with their friends and visit their local stores. Think about different types of events that can appeal to your community. The more you can involve the people of your community, the more you will encourage them to interact with the downtown businesses. Of course, these events only work if the retail community commits to working together and collaborating and being consistent about it. The fourth element that I have noticed within towns that are successful is accessibility. Many of the areas that I go to have been historic downtowns, developed and planned over a century ago. However, over time, newer retail districts have become structured around a much more car-oriented lifestyle that developed throughout the United States. This new retail commerce model fits into Americans' lives, but is less conducive to shopping. In general, if you have to drive from one store to another, the shopping experience becomes fragmented and less shopping will occur. Shopping becomes a chore that involves driving, sitting in traffic, finding parking spots, rather than a relaxing experience. If towns can focus on the accessibility of their shopping and their shopping community, they can keep people in the area for longer and spend more money. So what does accessibility include? For one, the area should be safe and walkable. By safety, I don't mean eliminating crime. I mean making pedestrians feel more comfortable walking around. This means having well-maintained walkable sidewalks, stop signs, walk signals at busy intersections. This might also mean extending curbs or eliminating parking spots around an intersection so pedestrians can more easily be seen by cars. If people feel like they can walk around safely, they will spend more time in the area and thus spend more money in the area. Accessibility also includes having places for people to live nearby. Understandably, building residences in an area is a more significant investment. However, the concept remains. People want to be able to live, eat, shop all in the same location. And that's more important to a younger generation now more than ever. The more accessible the shopping area is, the more time people will have to spend there. In addition to nearby single-family homes or above-store apartments, many downtown areas have seen the development of condos or apartment buildings adjacent to the Main Street area. The concept of pairing affordable housing with the ability to walk to restaurants and shopping is very appealing to younger generations who want that aspect of community. Accessibility also means having the downtown businesses open 7 days a week. I've talked about this in the past where I go on a Main Street Monday and I get to a town and every place is closed on Monday. In other towns I visited, I've gotten there and found out that businesses are going to be closed 2 or even 3 days a week. In the downtown areas that I've seen the most thriving businesses, I've seen more businesses open all 7 days. If you are open every day, you give your customers daily opportunities to shop with you. The business communities that try to find a slower day to close create a self-fulfilling prophecy. No one comes to a shop on that day because the stores are closed, but the store is closed because no one is coming for that day. If the whole area is consistently closed on 1 day a week, it will be closed almost 2 months out of the year. Think about that. If you just decided that you were going to close yourself down for 2 months out of the year, how would that affect your business? When you're closed, you miss opportunities to help your customers with their needs. Think about how accessible your shopping area is to customers. Is it walkable? Is it livable? Are the stores open for people to shop? You want to do as much as possible to encourage people to spend time in the area. If they spend time there, they're going to spend money there too. The next element that I have seen successful towns do that really set themselves apart is having town pride and promotion, and if not for the town, then for the state. As a person who's made it a habit of picking up a sticker from every town that I visit, this has been one of the most interesting learnings I have experienced. Some towns do a marvelous job at building and promoting pride within their community, but others don't even try. To do this, you do not have to be a big town. In fact, one of the most successful instances I have seen comes from a town of about 750 full-time residents. Just about everyone that I saw walking down the street was wearing something promoting the town. The town is on a lake and has a very good tourist season, but I've even seen people in states thousands of miles away wearing merchandise from this town. So how do they do that? Well, for one, they have it available to sell. Every store sold something with the town's name on it, whether it was apparel, tote bags, blankets, pillows, toys, or stickers. These weren't just your touristy souvenir items. They were good quality, fashionable products that represented the town well, and they were everywhere. It almost felt weird if I didn't get something with the town's name on it. They've made a concerted effort to promote the town to everyone that visits and everyone that lives there. People want to show off where they live and where they've been. If you make it available, people are going to buy it. I am always shocked when I cannot find any local products within a town that I visit. I see it as a missed opportunity. A similar concept is state pride. Some states do a much better job at this than others. Some states have pride built into their culture, whether it's because of the shape of the state or the state flag or the state motto or something unique about the state. If you have the fortune of living in a state with built-in pride or a built-in personality, lean into that. It doesn't have to be just the state university or the local college. It can be just state related. People want to feel connected to an area and will buy products that feature the state they live in or the state that they're visiting. I also strongly encourage retailers to carry and market products from your local area. The same people who like to shop locally also like to buy products that originate within the community as well. Shoppers want to know the story behind the products in your store. They want to know who made it and where it's from. If you can have a section of products that are locally made or made within 100 miles, you can have more intimate knowledge of those vendors and be able to sell those stories. Your customers will appreciate your effort to support local artisans and their ability to find unique local products at your store. So, do you celebrate yourself as a town? Do you show people what is unique and fun about your community? No one else is going to take the time to do that for you. But if you can demonstrate why you love where you live, others are going to love it too. A similar concept for my 6th point is to lean into your history. Is there something that your town is known for? And it can be the biggest stretch of known for that you can think of. Was there a famous person that used to live there or a unique event that happened there? What are you doing with those stories? Today, people are lonelier than ever. We crave connections. We want to be connected to a larger story, and your town's history is a great way to fill that connection. This can be a really good avenue to explore if you're having trouble creating a unique event or festival ideas. Have a Wizard of Oz themed event because one time Frank L. Baum rented a house in your town for the summer. Do a British themed event because Winston Churchill stopped off in your town on a speaking tour. Have a paper party to celebrate the paper mill that served as the basis of your town's economy for decades. What's a paper party? I don't know. You can just make it up. You can represent your history in unique ways that are more personalized for your community. This can also provide other festival opportunities that are not just based around a season or a holiday. As a town, you can also represent your history through events like themed movie nights that bring everyone together, or other activities that involve members of the community. The last commonality that I have seen successful towns do is having artwork and murals. Art can serve a multitude of purposes in a downtown area. At its most basic level, artwork beautifies the area. It can turn an ordinary brick wall into something to look at and appreciate, or an alleyway into something that's inviting. It can make people feel more welcome in an area and feel like they belong. Art can be used to show off the talent of local residents of all ages and through all mediums. I've experienced towns decorated by professional sculptors and muralists, as well as areas beautified by children from the local high school. Art has a place in the community and should be celebrated. Artwork is a great way to tell the history of an area and let residents and visitors know why this place is special. Statues of famous former residents serve as a reminder that greatness can come from anywhere and inspire residents to dream big. The subjects don't have to be renowned beyond the city limits. One city I visited essentially had a local Hall of Fame mural celebrating teachers, coaches, city planners, architects, editors of the local newspaper, and a wide variety of others who have made an impact on that community. Murals can also paint an image, pun intended, of what the town used to look like and give people a glimpse into how far the community has come. I always love seeing faded imagery of murals for bygone businesses. On one hand, it seems strange to have an advertisement for a store or a restaurant or a car mechanic that closed its door 40 years ago. But at the same time, it's like looking into a time capsule of what had been here before. You wonder if the family still has roots in the town, if people still remember visiting this store, and what that space is now. When community art is done really well, it can become a featured attraction. People will want to take pictures and post them on social media. It can attract people for the sole purpose of coming to see the artwork around town. I've seen towns develop tourism campaigns around people coming to see an art installation and all of the other things that you can do in town while you're there. In fact, I found out about one town through a social media post about their art installation. When I arrived, there were dozens of people taking pictures around it. Stores and restaurants played off the popularity by featuring mini replicas of the art installation in their windows. The town became united by the symbols of this art. Other areas have found ways to make their artwork interactive. With a scannable QR code or a travel map, scavenger hunts can be made to encourage people to walk the town and see all of the art. The associated website or map then provides more information on the art and the artist for those that are interested in learning more. This scavenger hunt can lead people to areas they might not have encountered otherwise and find more shops this way. This way of interacting with the city also gives people a reason to visit the downtown besides stores and restaurants. Often, part of the battle is just getting people to come to the downtown, and activities can provide a reason for people to do so. One thing I have loved seeing is when communities have themed art pieces throughout their downtown that businesses can participate in by having their own. The art piece might be a fiberglass representation of the city's mascot, or another town symbol that's recognized to the community. And while they're all the same basic object, each store gets to create their own and add their own little flair to it. This allows them to add their unique personality to represent themselves as well as the city. Doing this shows excellent unity in the area and creates a fun, competitive atmosphere amongst each other as to who can have the best looking one, or the silliest one, or the one that represents the town the best. They're usually on display for a limited time and can later be auctioned off for charity or to raise money for a townwide event coming up in the future. Art is important for communities, but it is often overlooked. Many communities I have visited have been devoid of art, making them feel cold and sterile. Art can make your commercial sector feel warm and more welcoming. It can tell people where you've been, what's happening in the space, and who came there before you. Art encourages people to visit and explore the area. Art can unite the business district around common symbols and themes, and art can celebrate the talent of local individuals to give them a place to shine. So when you look around your community, do you see art? Do you see vibrancy? Do you see something that would want to attract people to come there and stay there and spend time? If not, advocate for it. Talk to your city planners. Talk to people in your community about getting art in there so that people will want to stay and support the retailers of the area. So in summary, as I wrap things up today, to have a successful downtown shopping district, you have to have more than great stores. Great stores help, don't get me wrong, but one great store on its own does not a thriving shopping district make. To see real long-term success in an area, it takes a concerted effort from many stakeholders. You have to create a culture within the community that wants to support your stores. You have to offer the community something beyond just eating, drinking, and shopping. You have to offer community. In-store events, town festivals, artwork, and town pride all offer the residents of your town and surrounding areas a sense of belonging. And the more a person feels like they belong somewhere, the more time that they will spend there. And then that same maxim that holds true for a retail store also holds true for an entire shopping district. The more time spent there, the more money people will spend there. And then the more money that is spent, the more the area and the local economy thrive. But this is not a one-person job. You alone cannot change the culture of your entire community. That's why it is imperative that you work together with your fellow merchants and business owners to develop that community, to make it somewhere where people want to be, to lobby the city to invest into your Main Street. We all want to see Main Street thrive, but it does not happen on its own. You must take the desire into your own hands and make it happen. I had planned to talk more today about my favorite Main Street Monday visits and what made them stand out and the retailers there, but I'm going to hold that for another day and leave that for this week. If you've enjoyed these stories or this advice, please consider supporting Heart on Main Street. We are a nonprofit, and every donation goes towards helping small businesses thrive, whether through disaster relief or education or direct support to them. Thank you so much for joining me today on Main Street Matters by Heart on Main Street. If you liked this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves small businesses as much as you do. And yes, I am trying out some new theme music for this episode. If you like it, let me know. If you hate it, also let me know, but do so politely. Until next time, keep supporting your local retailers and keep your heart on Main Street. See you next week. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Keiser. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can go to heartonmainstreet.org.